Let's get right into it. Number 10. Artificial sweetener. Imagine you're a chemist in 1879, working with coal tar all day. You're tired, hungry, and decide to grab some dinner, but you forget to wash your hands. For Konstantin Fallberg, this lazy moment changed history. He takes a bite of his bread, and suddenly it tastes super sweet. Most people would panic, thinking they'd just poisoned themselves. But Konstantin was curious. He goes back to his lab and starts tasting the chemicals on his desk. This guy was just casually tasting coal tar derivatives, and that's how saccharin, the first artificial sweetener, was discovered. Coal tar was basically industrial waste. It's the stuff they scraped off the bottom of coal processing plants. We took literal industrial waste and decided to put it in our food, and we're still doing it today. Every time you grab a diet soda, you're basically drinking the great-great-grandchild of coal tar. Number 9. Champagne. You're a French winemaker in the 1600s. You're trying your best to make normal wine, but the cold weather keeps messing everything up. See, when winter hits, it gets so cold that the yeast in your wine takes a nap, but then spring comes along, and that lazy yeast wakes up and starts partying again. This second fermentation creates bubbles in your wine, which back then was considered a huge mistake. These bubbles were such a problem that bottles would literally explode in the cellar, spraying glass everywhere. They called it the devil's wine. Workers had to wear metal masks just to go into the cellars. It was like some medieval bomb disposal situation, but with wine. For years, winemakers tried everything to stop these bubbles from forming. But then, they decided to embrace the bubbles. They started making stronger bottles that could handle the pressure and marketed this flaw as a luxury feature. It's like when you spill paint on your jeans and say, "Oh yeah, that's the style now." Soon, everyone from kings to rich socialites had to have this fancy, bubbly mistake. Number 8. The search for immortality that gave us explosions. Imagine you're an ancient Chinese alchemist. Your one job is to help the emperor live forever. You're mixing different ingredients, hoping to create the elixir of life. One day you're working with sulfur, charcoal, and saltpeter, but instead of eternal life, you create something that makes life significantly shorter. Congratulations, you've just invented gunpowder. Now, you might think these alchemists would have given up after their immortality potion literally blew up in their faces. But nope, they looked at this explosive failure and thought, hey, this could be useful. They were trying to prevent death and accidentally created one of history's most effective ways of causing it. It's like trying to invent a vegetarian burger and accidentally creating a steakhouse. These alchemists kept experimenting with their accidental discovery, putting it in bamboo tubes to make primitive rockets, bombs, mines, and eventually guns. Number 7. Pac-Man Ghosts. You know how in Pac-Man each ghost has its own personality? Blinky's aggressive, Pinky's sneaky, Inky's unpredictable, and Clyde's kind of an idiot. Turns out none of that was planned. The developers were trying to make all the ghosts chase Pac-Man, but they ran into bugs and hardware limitations. Pinky was meant to cut Pac-Man off, but a bug made him aim slightly off target. This made him look like he was trying to ambush you. Players thought this was brilliant strategy, and Inky was the biggest mess-up of all. His targeting was so flawed that he ended up moving in ways that seemed completely random and unpredictable. Then there's Clyde. Poor Clyde was supposed to chase Pac-Man, but they got the distance calculations wrong, so he ends up wandering off to the corner when he gets too close. The developers were running out of time before release. When they play-tested the game, players loved how each ghost seemed to have its own strategy, so they just left it. They accidentally created one of the most memorable game AI systems ever. Number 6. Cheese. Picture this. You're living thousands of years ago, and you need to store some milk. You look around and think, hey, this dried sheep stomach looks like a perfect container. You pour your fresh milk into this makeshift stomach pouch and head out for the day. When you come back, your milk has turned into weird, chunky lumps floating in liquid. Most normal people would throw this away and rethink their storage choices, but our ancestors looked at these suspicious stomach-fermented milk chunks and thought, yeah, I'm gonna eat that. They liked it so much they kept doing it. This is how cheese was born, from someone storing milk in the worst possible container. The enzymes in the animal's stomach, called rennet, caused the milk to curdle, and we just never stopped. We've been deliberately spoiling milk for thousands of years, getting fancy with it, adding bacteria, and letting it get moldy on purpose. Someone made milk go bad in a dead animal's stomach, and now we pay extra for aged cheese. Number 5. Bubble wrap. In 1957, two engineers, Mark Chavans and Alfred Fielding, were in a garage trying to make fancy wallpaper. They sealed 2 shower curtains together, trapping air bubbles inside. They thought people would love having their walls covered in squishy plastic bubbles. Nobody wanted their their walls to look like they had a bad case of plastic acne. The inventors tried selling it as greenhouse insulation next. That failed too. For 3 years, they had this totally useless product. Then in 1960, IBM was about to ship their new 1401 computer. Someone at their marketing firm looked at these plastic bubbles and thought this could keep stuff from breaking. They wrapped the computer in it, shipped it out, and nothing broke. Bubble wrap went from being failed wallpaper to the world's favorite way to protect stuff in shipping. It also became everyone's favorite way to procrastinate. The company that makes it, Sealed Air Corporation, now makes over $4 billion a year, all because 2 guys messed up trying to make wallpaper. Number 4. The Phillips head screw. You know that annoying thing where your screwdriver slips out of the screw and scratches whatever you're working on? That's not a bug, it's a feature. Back in the 1930s, car companies were trying to speed up their assembly lines, but the screws they were using kept breaking. Their new automatic screwdrivers would apply too much force and snap the heads clean off, slowing everything down. Then Henry Phillips designed a screw to fail. His new cross-headed screws were made so that when too much force was applied, the driver would pop out instead of breaking the screw. It's called cam out, and it's literally built into the design. The car companies loved it. Their assembly lines could now move faster without breaking screws, and that's why, almost 100 years later, we're all still cursing when our screwdriver slips and ruins our DIY projects. Number 3. The Pacemaker. It's 1956, and a man named Wilson Greatbatch is trying to build a device to record heart rhythms. He reaches into his box of electronic parts and accidentally grabs the wrong resistor, one that's 100 times more powerful than the one he needed. He plugs it in anyway, and suddenly his device starts making this steady electrical pulse. It's like accidentally pouring orange juice in your coffee, except this mistake ended up saving millions of lives. Instead of just recording heartbeats, his device was sending out perfect, rhythmic electrical pulses. Greatbatch realized this could be huge for people with irregular heartbeats. It's like having a tiny drummer inside your chest, keeping the beat when your heart forgets how to dance. The first pacemaker he built was about the size of a hockey puck. He tested it on a dog, and it worked perfectly. Today, pacemakers are smaller than a matchbox and keep about 3 million hearts beating properly, all because some guy grabbed the wrong part from his electronics box. Number 2. Botox. In the 1970s, Dr. Alan Scott was trying to treat people with crossed eyes, so he injected their eye muscles with one of the deadliest toxins known to mankind, botulinum toxin. This is the same stuff that can kill you if you eat spoiled food. A single gram of this toxin is potent enough to kill over 1 million people. The experiment worked. The patient's eye muscles started working better, but a side effect was noticed. The wrinkles around their eyes were also disappearing. Word got around. Suddenly people wanted to get injected with this deadly toxin, not to fix their eyes, but to get rid of wrinkles. The cosmetic industry realized people would pay big money to get poison shot in their face. Botox became a multi-billion-dollar industry. We're literally injecting a lethal poison into our bodies just to look younger. And the craziest part is, we're totally fine with it. Number 1. Turning it off and on again. Tech support always asks if you've tried turning it off and on again. Turns out, this was originally terrible advice. Back when computers first became common, engineers were very clear that you should always do a proper shutdown. Just cutting the power could corrupt files, damage hardware, and potentially brick your machine. But then, frustrated people just started yanking the plug. And to everyone's surprise, the computer would start working again. This wrong solution worked so well that it became the go-to fix for literally everything electronic. When devices run for a long time, they build up what engineers call state. Think of it like your brain getting foggy after being awake too long. All these temporary files and background processes pile up like digital garbage. When you force a restart, you're not really fixing anything. You're just giving your device amnesia, wiping its short-term memory clean. Modern devices are now designed with this in mind. They have special protection circuits built in because manufacturers know we're going to keep doing this wrong thing that just works. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.